Hi, Sofie.
Hi, Ulrikke.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Happy to do it.
Yeah. Sofie is one of my good friends. She has accepted to go on a walk and talk with me here on this very grey Saturday morning. You ready?
I am.
All right, let's do this walkie talk. So, Sofie, you are a stem cell researcher by background.
Yes.
What is a stem cell?
Oh.
Is there just one kind, or is there several kinds?
Oh, several kinds. And it's a cell that has a lot of potential, but there are very many different kinds. So I think what people tend to think about when they think of stem cells is the embryonic stem cell. So the kind of cell that can become any part of the body.
Yeah.
But then once the embryo has been formed at a super early stage, all of those cells actually start to get specialized functions.
Yeah.
So you then have a skin stem cell and a blood stem cell and a brain stem cell. And those are really there to regenerate organs and help repair them if something goes wrong. Yeah.
But stem cells, that is the one part of what you have been doing.
Yes.
Then now you have moved into a new field.
I wouldn't say it's a new field of research. I moved out of academia, so to speak. So I've been a stem cell researcher for, oh goodness, is it 15 years? It's a long time.
Yeah.
And now I've left being my own researcher and my own science, and now I'm working for a large foundation with large strategic investments
How to support science.
How to support science and how to make the right people come together to create large strategic initiatives that benefit science and society.
Basic science, is that curiosity driven?
Yes.
Only? Or is it also driven by something else? I mean, what made you go into stem cells, which is somewhat of a basic scientific field?
Oh, very basic. Now it's become more translational, but it used to be a very basic science field. Oh, certainly curiosity. I'm one of those annoying people who always want to know why. I think if I didn't have the scientific curiosity, I would suck at my new job too. Certainly. I mean, yes, I think, and I think research should be curiosity driven. Only if you care enough about something are you willing to put in the time and energy and all of that it takes to move something forward.
Yeah. But what drives you in your scientific career?
I would say in both, what drives me is both understanding how and why things are as they are, and the other thing is to make a difference.
Yes, where were we? Yes,
but making a difference, yeah, because I realized that working for this foundation that has the size and also economic muscles of actually really making a difference, I feel that the work that I do there can really translate into things that really moves borders and can when I said this path would be straightforward, I didn't count on all the puddles.
I guess we could have gone out on the path like the road, but still.
But yeah, making a difference is certainly what drives me. Having a purpose that is bigger than me or my science or my surroundings. To have that sort of larger purpose is certainly what drives me.
Like, where do you think science is headed in the future?
I mean, science is exceptionally wide. Do you
like
do you have any particular?
No, I'm thinking like maybe the stem cell area or the biomedical area.
Right. So, I mean, if we take stem cells, they do happen to be my favorite cell. I think so. Up until now, the only stem cell that has actually been used in the clinic is the hematopoietic stem cell, the blood stem cell. Yeah. We do use them for bone marrow transplants, for malignant blood disease. It's also the only stem cell that's used for gene therapy. So that is used, has been used since the 1950s, after the bombs in Hiroshima. So So that is the stem cell that is already translated into the clinics. But there are a lot of other potential for a lot of the other stem cells, and one that gained a lot of interest 14 years ago in 2006, a Japanese researcher, Yamanaka, he discovered that you could actually turn any cell of the body, well, he showed it with skin cells, into an embryonic stem cell like cell that had the potential of becoming any part of the body. So that was an exceptional breakthrough.
Yeah.
And now that field, which is called induced pluripotent cells, so IPS cells, that field has really exploded.
So it becomes possible by readily accessible material such as skin to produce any cell in the body.
Yes, and not only are they accessible, but they are yours.
Yeah.
So they are already they already fit your body.
Wow.
But of course, this is a field in development, but this is a field that has really taken over and completely revolutionized regenerative medicine. That was awarded with the Nobel Prize in 2012, together with Sir John Gurdon, he realized the phenomenon back in the 70s, 72 or maybe even 68, but then people all thought he was crazy. And what Yamanaka did was to show how that could be done.
Yeah.
And it was actually much more simple than anyone could have ever imagined.
So cells really want to survive.
Well, the body is certainly a very, very perfectly wired system, and we don't understand half of it yet. No. But I think that, for example, because embryonic stem cells are used in clinical trials as well, but there is of course a lot of ethics around that.
Yeah.
So the cells used are from aborted. It's fertilized eggs, I would say.
Yeah.
It's not a fetus yet, but depending on what religion you come from, then life starts with that. So then it is certainly a life. Yeah. So that's of course surrounded by a lot of ethical aspects that should be part of this debate. But IPS cells, this induced pluripotent cells, they are not. They come from your own body and have never been intended for any other kind of life. So of course that also widens the scope of who could use them. Yeah. But there's still a lot of research for that, for it to go all the way into the clinic. There are clinical trials for certain areas. But that I think will become bigger. And also it is one of the largest expanding industries. With so not just IPS cells, but also other kinds of stem cells.
So it becomes a potential of like that truly personalized treatment,
right?
Because it focuses on you from you.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I would like to say though, for anyone listening to this, there are a lot of hopes, which I feel very strongly about and I'm very compassionate about. But there are also a lot of hypes. So of course, with anything that comes where you could make money out of it, there will be people who are not true stem cell doctors, or have true stem cell treatments. So if you Google what you can do with stem cells, you can treat anything, absolutely anything, and you can pay, and people do pay a lot of money to do so. So there is actually, I would like to say, the Society for Stem Cell Research, the International Society for Stem Cell Research, they have a webpage and a guidebook for patients.
We'll put it in our links.
Yes.
So people can go and actually check out.
I think that would be fantastic. Their handbook used to be called "What You Don't Know Can Kill You," and and now it has a much more boring. But I think it's called Patient Handbook or something like that. But it's actually true. So there are a lot of really, really good and solid stem cell opportunities out there, and then there are the ones that are the hypes. But this patient handbook contains a set of very simple questions that you can ask your medical doctor. Yeah. And if it's a real stem cell treatment, they should be able to answer these questions and provide you with this information. If they can't, don't trust it.
But I mean, that is important. I mean, it is important that, because when we are when we're desperate,
I'm deviating from the path.
That's all right. It looks like a very wet path. Because when we are desperate, we look for desperate measures.
Yes, I have a close friend of mine is a absolute world leading stem cell scientist within neuroscience, and she of course get contacted by a lot of patients who are upset that they have learned from Googled something and found out that there is a therapy somewhere, and why are they not being offered these therapies, where she can only reply that these are not actual therapies. I said, but I saw this video of a person after a car crash who couldn't walk and now they can walk. That's not actual proof you can do anything with
stem cells.
No, you can do anything with that video, right?
Yeah.
So it is important to bear in mind that with such a powerful new regenerative medicine field opening up, there will be a lot of hopes, which are good.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of really good, solid researchers in this field, but then there is also the hype. So,
but that's, I mean,
worth looking up.
Yeah, but science is hard. Science takes time.
Yes.
And the translation, like we talked about, it is very important that it is translated, but it takes time.
Yes, it needs to be done in a responsible way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we as scientists, should we be better at communicating this to our society around us? That what we're working on may not be ready just yet to patients.
But also what it actually means, because so both. I think we should communicate both the hopes and the hypes.
Yeah.
I think in especially now in times of fact resistance and fake news and where sometimes people's opinions are weighed and valued as highly as someone's actual facts, which frightens me that they are. I think it is even more important that researchers do go out and communicate what's real and what's not real. How can you tell the difference? Because we should also be able to give hope. If the only ones giving hope are the ones who are fake, then people. I mean, it's also super important that we sometimes, because I think researchers, I can only talk for myself, but I know that we do rely so much on facts that sometimes we don't want to generalize. We feel that we're lying if we do. That's of course not true.
No. Should we go up here?
Sure. We need to generalize. Nobody is interested in all the details that we are interested in. We should, but the rest don't really need to care, as we are on top of the details.
Yeah.
So by generalizing, we can communicate scientific truths in a way that's accessible to people. And that is really important, because if the only ones who are out there filling our social medias and our
we're saying everything can be
debates,
done, but don't have the facts, and we as scientists keeps going like, well, we don't know, then
that's right.
It becomes hard to sort of
we're making it difficult for society and for the interested to follow that. So, and to know who to listen to. So I think it is very important that we as scientists do communicate the hopes in an easily accessible packaging and the facts, but also what cannot be done.
Yeah. And where the field is currently.
Yeah.
Not always because we do get, I mean, I love my details. I can get stuck on details for a long time.
Yeah, you're not alone.
And it becomes like, there's always these pros and cons, and that can sometimes be really hard to communicate.
Yes.
That there's all of these pros and cons, and you get lost in the pros and cons, that it's almost impossible to understand what is actually happening, because you yourself are like so deep in the net of details.
Yeah. I think sometimes I've done a fair bit of popular science communication, and sometimes it's good to bounce it off your partner, if your partner is not in the same field, that is. They will hopefully be honest enough to tell you, no, I don't get this. Or this is way too complicated, or okay, I hear what you're saying, but I don't care. How is this interesting to me?
Yeah.
If they do tell you that, it means they care, and not that they're being rude. It's or someone else, doesn't need to be a partner.
No.
It could be anyone who's not in your field, but who can let you know that the way that it's communicated, either it doesn't make sense to me or it doesn't make it interesting.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not. Doesn't make me go, wow, what? Why should I care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I will let that be our last note on the video, that we should be better at communicating. Sofie,
And networking.
And Sofie, thank you for coming out for a walk and talk.
Thank you for having me.
Always. You can always join me on a walk.